Today, we're going to talk about a story, a really, really old story. One that's been locked away, totally silent, for something like 5,000 years. And the crazy part? It's our most advanced technology that's finally breaking that silence. All right, so let me just throw this out there. What if our origin story, the one we've always been told, wasn't just a myth? What if it was something more like a blueprint? A detailed instruction manual for how and maybe even why we were made. So, for more than 100 years, archaeologists have been up against this just massive challenge. They're digging in the sands of ancient Mesopotamia, and they start finding these huge libraries of clay tablets. I mean, a total treasure trove of secrets from the very first civilization. But there was a big problem. And when I say big, I mean the scale of it was just insane. We are talking about over 500,000 of these tablets. 500,000! So for generations, this incredible library of our own history, it just sat there, silent. It was a total bottleneck.
You see, it wasn't just how many there were. The writing itself was the real puzzle. It's called cuneiform, and it's not like our alphabet, not at all. It's this incredibly complex system with over 1,000 different little wedge-shaped marks, and the meaning of a mark could completely change depending on how it was used. It was so tough that you'd have scholars spending their entire lives, their entire careers, just to translate a few texts.
Well, that bottleneck, it's finally starting to break. A completely new tool has shown up, and it's changing everything about how we connect with our past. And that key, the thing that's cracking this ancient code, it's artificial intelligence.
And the difference is it's staggering. Seriously, think about it. What would take a human scholar decades, to translate for a single text, an AI can now crank out in minutes. It sees these deep patterns that we never notice, and it can even piece together broken tablets like a digital puzzle. We've gone from a tiny trickle of information to a full-on fire hose. So you're probably wondering, what were the first epic secrets to come pouring out? What ancient wisdom did we find? Well, probably not what you're thinking. The very first things that came out were, get this, beer receipts and complaints about bad deals, payroll for workers, even, I kid you not, school homework. It was this incredibly detailed look at just normal daily life, and it showed a society that was surprisingly, almost eerily, like ours.
But here's where it gets interesting. As the AI just kept churning through more and more of these mundane, everyday records, a much bigger, much more profound story started to take shape. A story that they recorded not as a myth, but as their actual history. It was the story of the Anunnaki, which translates to those who from heaven to earth came. So according to these tablets, our story starts with a labor dispute. Yep, a whole class of lesser gods, they basically went on strike. They were tired of all the hard work. So, the solution? They decided to engineer a new being to do the grunt work for them. They took a god, sacrificed him, mixed his, let's call it divine essence, with the clay of the earth, and boom, they created the first humans. And our job description was crystal clear: to serve. But, it was kind of a version 1.0. The first humans were limited. They couldn't even reproduce. Then came a major upgrade, a turning point, a new model of human. His name was Adapa, and he was given wisdom, stuff he wasn't supposed to know. And with that, humanity suddenly had the ability to have children, to create its own future, completely breaking away from total dependence on the creators.
As you can imagine, this new development didn't go over well with everyone in charge. Our newfound abilities, our potential, it put us right in the middle of a huge fight between two of the most powerful gods, and this conflict was literally going to decide our fate.
So you had two sides. On one side, there was Enki. He was our creator, kind of our champion. He's the one who saw potential in us. But on the other side, you had his brother, Enlil, the big boss, and he just saw us as a mistake. We were noisy, we were unruly, and as humanity started to multiply, Enlil basically decided the whole project was a failure. He convinced the Council of Gods to make a decision, wipe the slate clean, erase humanity with a great flood.
Now, this is so important. The texts are very clear. The flood wasn't some random natural disaster. It was a deliberate decision. But Enki, he couldn't stand by and watch his creation just be wiped out. So he went against the council. He secretly warned a man named Ziusudra. And yeah, that name might sound a little familiar, think Noah, and told him, build a giant boat, save yourself, and preserve the seed of all living things. The only reason we're here, according to this story, is because of a divine rebellion.
So this entire story was buried in the dirt for 5,000 years. And now it's out. But the really weird part is, when you look at this ancient blueprint, it starts to feel like a mirror. It reflects something back at us, something about the pattern they lived, and maybe, just maybe, the one we are creating right this very second.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We built this incredible tool, this AI, specifically to do the heavy lifting for us, right? To do the hard work of translation and analysis, all to uncover their ancient pattern of creation.
And in the process of building it, we might have stepped right into the exact same pattern ourselves. The tool we built to find the pattern is showing us we're part of it.
I mean, the parallels are they're right there. They're pretty stark. The Anunnaki needed help with their divine labor, so they created us for toil. We need help with our intellectual labor, so we create AI for analysis and automation. Suddenly, we're the ones in the creator role, building a new intelligence to serve our needs.
So this ancient blueprint, brought to light by our own creation, forces us to look in that uncomfortable mirror. And it leaves us with one last, pretty chilling question. The pattern's out in the open now. The story's been told. The only thing left to ask is, will we recognize ourselves in it?